WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Conversations sparking change in our community. That's what happened tonight in Columbus. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. City and community leaders, they met for a virtual town hall. That town hall style meeting, it was held virtually and streamed on Facebook to maintain social distancing while allowing for public input. The group discussed key issues such as the police department's use of force policy as well as strengthening community relations. Police Chief Fred Shelton introduced a new duty to intervene policy for his department. It requires an officer, regardless of rank, to step in and break up a situation when another officer is using excessive force. Community members feel the relationship between the police and the city is extremely important moving forward.
We can't trust the police if we don't see them in the streets every day. So as much as they go out, show their face in the community and make friends in the community, you know, it's not necessarily that someone is telling or talking to the police behind the scenes, just getting involved in the community, having the police, the right police getting involved in the community with us and being the face that people can see and trust in the community.
Plans are in the works for another meeting in the near future. A 75-year-old man shoved to the ground by police during a protest last week finds himself under attack again, this time online and from an unusual source. George Richard from CBS affiliate WIVB has the very latest from Buffalo, New York.
Well, it was the tweet heard round the world, and it didn't take long for some of those who have known Martin Gugino for years to come to his defense.
I would say that's absolutely ridiculous. You know, Martin was at protests for years. He was a demonstrator, and he was the kind of guy that did try to engage the police in a conversation about what was happening.
John Washington is reacting to President Trump's tweet, which reads, "Buffalo protesters shoved by police could be Antifa provocateur." Martin Gugino was pushed away after appearing to scan police communications in order to black out the equipment. He fell harder than was pushed, was aiming scanner, could be a setup. He's referring to some speculation on social media that the way Gugino was waving his cell phone near the policeman's belt could be viewed as an attempt to interfere with police radios using skimming software.
Whatever hand gestures or doctoring of the video they did, I think most people being approached by Martin Gugino would put an arm out and shake their hand, not push him to the ground.
Martin Gugino's attorney responded saying he's always been a peaceful protester and no one from law enforcement even suggested anything otherwise. So we are at a loss to understand why the president would make such dark, dangerous, and untrue accusations against him. Joe Biden chimed in, tweeting, "My dad used to say there's no greater sin than the abuse of power. Whether it's an officer bloodying a peaceful protester or a president defending him in a conspiracy theory he saw on TV. I'm a Catholic, just like Martin. Our faith says that we can't accept either."
First and foremost, I hope that Martin recovers 100%, so that he's able to get back out on the streets.
Charlie Bowman has demonstrated with Gugino for years and thinks it's more likely he was attempting to show officers the First Amendment on his phone.
It's common among peace workers to do that kind of thing.
There are new developments tonight in a nearly year-long missing persons case that has stretched from Idaho to Hawaii. The stepfather of two missing children is behind bars after investigators make a grisly discovery on his property. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti has the very latest.
Tonight, Chad Daybell taken away in handcuffs. Investigators digging in his backyard. The latest twist in a months-long search for 8-year-old JJ and 17-year-old Tylee.
The investigators and detectives have recovered what's believed to be human remains that are not identified at this time.
Rexburg police say those human remains are now being analyzed. CBS News has learned 20 members of the FBI are now scouring the property. It's the second search of his Idaho home. The stunning developments happening more than 3 months after Daybell's wife, Lori Vallow, was arrested for defying a court order to prove her kids were alive. These are the last images of JJ, who disappeared on September 23rd. His sister Tylee last seen earlier that month in Yellowstone National Park. Vallow and Daybell married in November, shortly after Daybell's then-wife Tammy suddenly died. Her death is under investigation. The newlyweds moved to Hawaii without the children. Vallow was extradited to Idaho in March. Police confirmed today's search warrant pertains to the disappearance of the two kids and that charges against Daybell are pending. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News.
Warm and humid all day long. The heat index in the triple digits at times today. A nice sunset there in Columbus. That's our time lapse from this evening on our Tuesday. Look at these numbers. Current values, upper 70s, low 80s. The heat index still well into the 80s, 90. That's what it feels like in West Point right now. The humidity very, very high. It's thick. The air is very juicy. We don't have any rain on radar locally, but there's a band of showers and storms here in Arkansas and out in Texas. That's actually coming our way. Some gusty storms out there now. Those will weaken in here as they approach after midnight. So a chance for a little bit of rain early in the morning. We start out in the 70s, very muggy here. We're back into the 80s in the afternoon, but as we get into the afternoon and evening, humidity levels start to drop. We have some great days ahead. We'll show you that 7-day coming up.
There's still no treatment for COVID-19, but there are hundreds of clinical trials searching for a solution. One of them is here in Mississippi. Courtney Ann Jackson explains.
COVID-19 is a respiratory illness, so GI Associates in Flowood may not be on the list of likely places for a clinical trial idea to spur. But think again.
There are several GI diseases that we have this inflammatory cascade. It's the same cascade of events, the cytokine storm that you see with the COVID-19.
See, Dr. Reed Hogan's research team had already been looking at that inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract for the last 10 years.
After the phone call from a big pharma player saying, haven't you treated COVID yet? And the question was, why do you ask? I said, you know it's the same pathway. We felt obligated to figure it out.
GI Associates is partnering with St. Dominic's for an outpatient trial. Hogan says they've had success with the synergy that happens with the combination of two over-the-counter drugs, both histamine receptor blockers, cetirizine and famotidine.
The nice thing about this is it's easily available, rapidly scalable, so this could be used in third world countries and impoverished nations as a quick, rapid approach to try to lessen the morbidity and mortality.
St. Dominic's chief medical officer and infectious disease specialist says with no commercial vaccine currently available for this new disease, this type of research is vital to advancing the response to COVID-19. And the outpatient trial is significant because the goal is to keep patients from progressing to the point where they need hospitalization.
There's a scream for preventing progression of this disease. If we can be successful in lessening the impact of the cytokine storm, keeping people out of the hospital and off the ventilators, it'll be a major improvement for our health care.
Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Researchers say the combination is not a cure or even a treatment, at least not yet. The trial is designed to figure out what ratio of the two could provide a possible treatment for COVID-19. Meanwhile, on Monday, the Mississippi State Department of Health reported its largest single-day increase in COVID-19 cases. Bobby Martinez talks to a doctor and a sheriff about why folks should still be taking this virus and precautions very seriously.
A message to all Mississippians.
We have to respect the virus.
Dr. James Woodard of Allegro Family Clinic says the virus still poses a threat.
We're all still vulnerable to get this, unless you have had it and recovered, or unless you have had a vaccine, which there isn't a vaccine available yet.
And with the increase of amount of people in social gatherings, Dr. Woodard says wearing a mask is crucial.
People are getting out and about and mixing and mingling, and that's where you're going to pick it up. You cough or sneeze, the droplets are in the air. I don't have a mask on, and then I inhale those droplets, then I can get the virus.
The Mississippi State Department of Health reports at least 134 positive cases, along with 4 deaths in Clay County, something Sheriff Eddie Scott says is still a cause for concern.
Well, right now, as everybody knows, the case numbers are still going up on a daily basis. I think yesterday was one of the highest days that we've had. So that in itself shows that it is a major problem to be dealt with. So we have got to continue to use common sense.
Scott says Clay County will remain under curfew until July 9th.
The curfew has worked fairly well. Most people understand. Again, there is a lot of essential travel. If it's essential travel after 10 o'clock, that's not an issue. But as far as the people going, having the block parties and the clubs and this kind of stuff, that is a major area where this stuff can be spread. You know, this has been told to us by the CDC. So our Board of Supervisors has decided to continue the curfew through July the 9th.
For more ways to learn on how you can help prevent the spread of COVID-19, visit the Mississippi State Department of Health's website. The city of Macon lifts its curfew. Aldermen recently approved the measure. City leaders first approved a curfew back on April 7th in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Noxubee County town is still asking people to continue to social distance and also wear a mask if you go out in public. The Mississippi Department of Education releases a plan for school districts to help them prepare to reopen as COVID-19 continues to be a problem in the state. MDE teamed up with 9 school superintendents from across the state who came up with 6 areas to focus on. Those areas are then all broken down into a 3-month timeline. Now, the goal of this is to give districts an idea on ways to start classes back up, but minimizing the spread of possible coronavirus. State law requires schools to provide 180 days of instruction each school year. MDE is also working on policies to help that will help scheduling be flexible. To view the outline, just visit our website, WCBI.com. After being closed for 3 months due to COVID-19, the BIANCO South Arena is once again open for business. The arena is only allowing 25% capacity for now, and arena staffers are wearing masks. There are also several hand sanitizing stations around the venue. Even with the loss of some big events, Executive Director Todd Hunt believes things will pick up soon.
We're hoping that as the summer moves forward, we'll be able to open up at a larger capacity. We're open for business now, so if people want to book events with us, be it a reception or a party or corporate events, we're certainly open for that. Meanwhile, our renovation is moving forward, and we'll have the new conference center ready for business in July.
Yeah, that conference center he's talking about should be complete early next year. All right, we're going to send things back over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Keith, it was really humid today, but you're telling us it's going to kind of clear out a little bit.
It sure is. We will stay warm, stay sunny, but the humidity level will start to drop tomorrow afternoon. Still muggy in the morning. We got Frazier and Chloe helping us out with our first alert forecast for tonight. A chance for a little bit of rain early Wednesday, but notice that clearing trend. Still warm, a bit breezy, but lower humidity. That's the big trend here. Your full forecast is next.
First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Still warm on our Wednesday. Fortunately, the humidity level will be dropping as we get into the afternoon hours, but a bit juicy as we start out. Highs will be very warm again. We're looking at mid to upper 80s, but as I mentioned, the humidity factor makes all the difference in the world this time of year. The tropical depression still swirling up here in Wisconsin, now becoming extra tropical. So basically just an area of low pressure with a lot of rain up there and some breezes. But that's what we had move on through here. And this formed June 1st, last Monday, way down here in the southern Gulf of Mexico. Look at that. And it tracked all the way through the region, the Gulf of Mexico, through our area. Lots of tropical moisture. And it has funneled tropical moisture all the way into Wisconsin and Michigan tonight. That's why it's so juicy around here. We are in its wake, but we'll have a cold front move on through. Much drier air coming in tomorrow afternoon. So by this time tomorrow night, folks, we're looking at lower humidity with a comfortable breeze from the northwest. Looking southeast from Louisville, Mississippi this evening, we caught a dying complex of thunder showers down by Meridian. No rain locally at this point, but from Little Rock down to Longview, Texas, that's a narrow band of showers and storms. Gusty storms right now. They will weaken as they move through Arkansas and Louisiana tonight. And it looks like in a much weakened state, probably after 3 o'clock in the morning into the wee hours of the night into early tomorrow morning. We may see a little bit of rain from that. Most of you probably won't, but can't rule it out for the first part of our Wednesday. We'll just throw it in the forecast here. Temperatures in the 70s, so very muggy all night long. Tomorrow, upper 80s southeast, lower 80s northwest. That front moves through by mid-morning, and during the afternoon, the humidity will be noticeably lower. The sun very powerful, the UV index in the extreme category. So as you know, the sun can burn very, very fast. Lots of sunscreen needed going forward. There's the front tomorrow morning. It will move on through. We'll clear things out midday. And we're home free for a while. It looks like we will be dry for the rest of the work week, probably through the weekend, perhaps into early next week. Here's your AccuWeather 70 forecast. Warm days, But comfortable nights after tonight, upper 50s, low 60s starting tomorrow night. So that's a nice little change of pace as we close out the work week. Scott?
The downside, no swimming or canoeing. The upside, no bugs. We take a look at summer camp COVID style when we come back.
BI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. Each year, Camp Rising Sun allows kids with cancer to have some normal events, go swimming, fishing, and camp out. This year, that's not possible, but the camp is finding a way to reach campers. Our Stephanie Poole explains.
Hey, good morning, Camp Rising Sun. Welcome to day 2.
Summer camp activities for Camp Rising Sun look a little bit different this year. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, directors decided to meet virtually to keep campers safe and healthy.
Does everybody have those out? We're thankful to have the opportunity to be able to see them at least on the screen and interact. And
Co-director Allison KIZER says nearly 40 campers log in every day.
we tried to craft a camp that would follow our regular activities as much as we could, but clearly we can't have swimming and archery and those kind of things. So we tried to come up with some different ideas.
Nick and Ellen Taylor have attended Camp Rising Sun for 9 years. They say despite this year's changes, they're enjoying spending time with counselors and fellow campers.
We've been super engaged and having fun and like not keeping the energy and enthusiasm, and I've missed the people, and so it's been good to see them again.
The brother and sister are learning about art and making souvenirs.
We've never really done like anything like that before, or we've done stuff like that, but it's just like something we could do on here that we normally wouldn't do at normal camp.
To make sure each child is able to participate, counselors delivered supply boxes to each camper.
We've tried to keep our traditional activities such as arts and crafts. We're going to have a talent show, just like we always do. We're going to have a dance. They're going to be taught some line dances and do some things like that to make them more interactive, probably a little more interactive than we would at camp itself, because you can almost be one-on-one with some of them.
Reporting in Columbus, Stephanie Poole, WCBI News.
Definitely glad they found a way to keep Camp Rising Sun. The directors say they plan to resume in-person camp in June of 2021. Well, a former Crimson Tide receiver will join Mike Leach in the air raid offense. More from the transfer portal coming up next in sports.
The transfer portal has been unkind to Mississippi State for the past month or so, with the Bulldogs able to pick up a big addition to the receiving corps thanks to the portal. Alabama wide receiver Tyrell Shavers officially joining Mississippi State. The grad transfer has 2 years of eligibility remaining. A consensus 4-star receiver coming out of high school, the 6'6" Shavers recorded 1 catch for 20 yards with Alabama this past season and also recovered a blocked punt for a touchdown in 2019. Before the college baseball season was cut short, Ole Miss was tied atop the best record in all of collegiate baseball, 16-1, longest win streak in the country, and 1 shy of a program record. While the 2020 season will always be a what if, the Rebels skipper gets nationally recognized for his performance. Collegiate baseball naming Mike Bianco its National Coach of the Year. Bianco becoming the first Ole Miss head coach to receive the national honor. Bianco is Ole Miss baseball's all-time wins leader and the 3rd winningest baseball coach in SEC history. ICC soccer pair of Luz Elena Acosta and Brittany Mathis signed with Belhaven University. The Tupelo native Acosta started 34 games in 2 years at ICC as a defender, and the Pontotoc native Mathis scored 15 goals with 10 assists as a forward, both playing a part in ICC's historic 2019 campaign, setting the program record of 17 wins. NASCAR is set to allow some fans back to the racetrack for races at Homestead Miami Speedway and Talladega Superspeedway this month. 1,000 Florida service members will attend the Cup Series race this upcoming Sunday in Homestead. NASCAR will allow up to 5,000 guests to attend the Talladega race on June 21st. Fans will be screened before entering, required to wear face coverings, and mandated social distancing at 6 feet. That's it for sports. We'll be back right after the break.
We've had lots of wet weather this year. Another dry stretch coming our way. A slight chance for a little bit of rain, maybe a thunder shower late tonight. Early Wednesday, by mid to late morning, we start to clear things out. And the humidity level drops. Look at those overnight lows, upper 50s, low 60s here after tonight. Another muggy night tonight, and then we're home free for a bit.
And you know, Keith, we were talking about the UV index. Well, it goes, so I have a request. We need a UV report every day this summer.
It's coming.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.